What's good, Poncho? What up? Just waiting for Raka to get here. I'm back. I'm back on live stream. I'm back. It's been a long time since I've been doing these, man. Salute, salute. What up, what up? 6ixteen, what's good? I'm back, I'm back. Just waiting for Raka to get here. I sent you all the link. What's good? Salute, salute.
Yo, what up, though?
You said no volume. Chilling, chilling. What up? What's good? God bless. What up? Salute, cousin.
Yo, can you hear me now?
Yeah. No. He said no volume. I don't know if he's talking about. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you,
Yeah,
but
I hear
I
you.
read at the bottom there's no volume, so I
I
thought it
don't
was
know. I don't
coming
know
from
if you.
me.
Well, I hear you. I hear you. You hear me?
Okay.
Yeah, man. Salute, salute. He said no volume, man. What's good? God bless. What's good? Salute, salute. Yo, 6ixteen. I sent you the request, bro. Yeah, man. I'm back. I'm back on here. It's been a while since I did these live streams on Instagram. I want to come back. Yo, what's good, bro? Salute to you.
What's good?
Salute. Chilling. How you doing?
Good, man. Can't complain.
Yeah, man. I'm back on Instagram, bro. I'm back doing these lives. I wanted to come back on here. It's been a minute.
That's what's good, man. Get it going.
Yeah. Salute to you. So yeah, like over the past couple of like weeks, me and Rock have been doing these live streams, on YouTube. But I'm like, my fan base really is on here. Like I got over 2,000 on Instagram. So I wanted to come on and from week to week do some more live streams on here. You know what I mean? So tonight we talking about I did a video like a couple years ago, talking about like the best rap sophomore releases, the Full Jesus Score, Mobb Deep, the Infamous,
Okay.
Big Daddy Kane, it's a Big Daddy thing, those releases. Now we're gonna talk about the worst sophomore releases.
Yo, hold on. Don't bring up Memphis Bleak, man. Don't bring up my
I'm not
name.
gonna bring up Bleak. I'm not going to Bleak. I'm not. I actually like Bleak's second album, The Understanding. I like that one. I think that's his best album.
All
I
right.
actually like that one. You know what I'm saying? But we made a list. I don't know if you know any off the top of the head that you can give us, but I made like a list of 10, and
All right.
I know for sure that 2 of them people love, but I don't care for them. But I have 2 of them, but like I said, like they're not whack. I just felt like they wasn't classics like everybody say that they was. You know
Okay.
what I mean?
I want to hear that.
So Rocky, you want to start first?
Okay, so do you want me to go one by one,
Like
or
yeah, like yo, what's your number 10? And then I'll do my 10, stuff like that.
okay? Well, my 10th worst sophomore album.
Mhm.
It comes from former member of Leader of a New School. I was a big fan of his debut album, Becoming, and although he has albums later in his career that I liked just as much, Becoming really I really enjoy Becoming for several reasons. Number one, having Q-Tip executive produce the album
Right.
kind of showed her some of the production
Yeah.
duties, and then having Jay Dilla, produce a third of the album was a big
Right.
bonus. So when Disaster Strike came out, I was kind of I was disappointed because I thought it wasn't what I expected to be the follow up to The Coming. Like I
I've
was a
never
big
heard
fan
that.
of that. So it was, to me, the sequence of the record really
Mm-hmm.
left a lot to be desired, and it wasn't. He could still rhyme, but as a listening experience, I was judging that
Mm-hmm.
from what I expected from The Coming. So that's
That
my 10th.
already this is a shocker because I've never heard nobody say they felt like When Disaster Strikes was a bad album, and I love that album. I think his first four were great, and then when you get to like Genesis is when he started to get shaky. But I felt like when you hear like of course put your hands in my eyes to see, that was a big hit, right? And you had Fired Up, you had Dangerous. I think he picked the great singles, even the album cuts. So Hardcore was fire. When They're Looking at Me, the one track with Erykah Badu. I think that's a classic album. I've never heard nobody say When Disaster
I've
Strikes was a whack album.
never either. I think that's a pretty dope album too. That's a pretty solid album.
So
I've never heard that
if I
album.
want it, so Rocky, if you think that's a bad album, what did you think about Genesis and It Ain't Safe No More? What do you think about those albums?
I think like Genesis, that was when he had left Elektra and he went to J Records. The It Ain't Safe No More album, it really, it kind of, I could feel when he was reaching for the pop audience. So I will listen to his albums a la
Right.
carte, like the Genesis and It Ain't Safe No More.
Mhm.
There were songs that I liked on that album, but as a full listening experience of those albums, more or less, they were in the same mode. To me, Becoming is just raw, and it's Busta Rhymes at his rawest, coming out of that period when he left Leaders of a New School, and he was, for all intents and purposes, he was rhyming for 13 tracks, rhyming with the same veracity as he did on all of the verses that he
Somebody
gave
said
on
Drake Take
his guest
Care album. Wow,
appearances.
y'all didn't like Drake Take Care album? I think that's his best album. Wow, a lot of
Now,
takes tonight.
the now is my 10th pick. Is it less egregious as that assertion?
No,
Is
you
it?
might hit, you're gonna hate my pick. I know you're gonna hate my pick. I think we talked about it before, and a lot of people love this album. I don't feel like it was a classic. I feel like there was some good songs on it, but I'm going with Redman. There's a Dark Side.
Oh
Now
man.
I'm telling, like, for me, and I bought this in '94 when this album came out, bro. And I've never felt any different about this album. Like, it was good. It started off good. I love the tracks, Million and One Buddha Spots, and Bob Your Head to This, Neurotic, Green Island. But when you get past Can't Wait, when you get to those tracks like What It Looked Like and Slide and Rock On, and basically even the remix for Tonight's the Night, I don't like those songs. I always skip over those songs.
So you
And,
don't
and
like the
people love this
remix of
album.
Tonight's the Night?
I don't
You don't
like
like that remix?
the remix. Nah, I never liked the remix for that. You know what I'm saying? And people say it's a classic, and I get it. It was a dark album. Redman don't even like this album.
It's not
He
a
don't even perform.
classic. It's not a classic. I think it's solid. Not a classic, but I have heard people say that they don't like that album though. I've heard.
He don't even like the album. Nobody could tell me that when they saw Redman live in concert that he did anything off of that album. He don't perform nothing from that album. You know what I'm
But
saying? Like he
that
skip
can't
over
wait
that.
song is fire.
I like it. I like it.
That song is fire.
That's why I said after Can't Wait is when to me the album went downhill. Like I don't like none of those songs after Can't Wait. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a real trippy album. It was darker. I know he had lost a friend. He was grieving his friend. You know, Hit Squad had broke up. But to me, I never felt like when you put it up on the pedestal as Muddy Waters and his first album, I think those were better. Even Dr. Name 2000, I think that was a better album. You know what I'm saying? But if we had cut it down to 10 tracks, I would have been like, yo, that's a classic album. But the fact that we got 20 tracks and I'm skipping past like a lot of the joints after Can't Wait, I'm like, yo, I don't see why people feel like it's a classic album.
So can I ask you a question? So you said you feel that There Is a Dark Side would be a better album if the fat was trimmed.
Yeah, if it was a couple of songs was trimmed off of it.
So would We Run New York, would that be the fat, or would that be lean?
I actually like that. I like that with Hurricane G. You know what I'm saying? And I wish she had did more with Hit Squad, because you know every time was her baby daddy. You know they see her daughter together. So you know we didn't get that, but I like that song. It's just that the other songs on the lower part of the album I didn't care for.
Let me say this, man.
You said
y'all starting out with a bang, you know. Y'all starting out wild, crazy.
I told you, it's some hot takes. I always thought somebody said Drake Take Care, and I think Take Care is his best album from his earlier stuff.
Not a big Drake fan. I've never really bought any of his albums, so I really can't talk much about the Drake stuff, you know.
Right. I like his earlier stuff. His early, you know, So Far Gone, Thank Me Later, Take Care, Nothing Was the Same. I think that's his best shit. I don't think he's making the music like he was 15 years ago. Jay Luna said Little Wayne, Lights Out. I wasn't a Little Wayne fan back then.
Yeah.
I didn't really listen to him until Carter, the first Carter dropped. So I can't tell you if it was good or not.
I like Wayne in the group. I didn't like Wayne as a solo artist.
Really? So he wasn't a fan of the Carter trilogy and all that?
It was good. It was good. I just never. It wasn't my thing. His rapping style, I didn't like his rapping style and what his rapping content.
But you know what? Like he changed up his lingo. Like remember when he was with the Hot Boys, he was saying Wody and all that. He changed up his lingo, and when he went on that mixtape run, the stuff he was doing with DJ Drama, it was crazy over here. Like you couldn't get no mixtape over here. It was like everything was sold out.
His mixtape run was really good.
Yes. Jason said Slick Rick, The Ruler's back. Wow, he didn't like The Ruler's back. The sophomore from Slick Rick. What did you think about that album, if you remember it?
Well, that was a 91, but the recording process was kind of fragmented because he was recording in and out. He was in and out of the prison release, so he could only record maybe a couple days a week. So
I remember that.
But I don't really consider The Ruler back as a bad album. I mean, Vince Wright produced that entire album, so you know, but I understand the take. Like, look, like the thing about tonight, like there's going to be some picks because I know when I said when disaster strikes, like the entire audience gasped, you know. So I'm just trying to understand what was it about The Ruler's back that left you disappointed?
I remember he was on work release, and but the record label didn't promote that album though. Like he was coming out with I Shouldn't Have Done It. I remember there's a video for that. I don't remember too much on that album though. I remember when it came out and he was going to jail, but the record label didn't really promote that album. What's
to come, to follow up one of the greatest albums in rap history. That's a hard thing to do, coming off of the greatest adventures
A
of Slick
lot of
Rick.
artists, have not made a better album than their original first album. There's a lot of artists that have 10, 12 albums, and their best album is their first album. It's not a lot of artists that made a better album after their
I
first
agree.
album.
That's why we have this list. I agree. And there's one artist on this list that I'm gonna mention later who fits that what you just said. What's your number 9 pick? I'm afraid now. I don't know what he's gonna say.
My number 9 pick is an MC from the Frat Queens. He is one half of the rhyme duo Capone and Noriega.
That's on my list, Luna.
Melvin Flint, the Hustler. Man, that was a bloated album, man. The main problem that I had with it was the number of people that I felt couldn't rhyme.
Wow.
Was on it. Yeah, Thugged Out Entertainment artists, Scarlett Harlem, and Mussolini. Then you had that whack song with Missy Elliott. we thugged out or something And what bothered me was that with Noriega's first album, he was natural. He was just being his natural self.
Right.
He had a way where he would just shout and rhyme, but he was funny. He was sarcastic. Like he would throw words against the wall to see what would stick. There was a certain charm to it. Melvin, like some artists will have ideas that are better on paper than the idea, than the album, and you can see how far the idea on paper was to being realized.
Yes.
Because
hold on. Isn't that the album when he had the track that said, "I can't believe I made a whack album. I didn't want to do an album. I popped this style."
No, that was the Scene and Reunion album. He said that.
Yeah, but he wasn't talking about the reunion album. He was talking about one of his previous albums.
Right. But on the reunion album, he said that about the second album.
Right. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He said that he didn't want to make the album because at that time, I think his pops had passed away. So he wasn't really in album mode. I think he mentioned that on one of his songs.
Facts. Yes. I like some of the songs. I don't think it was great like NORE. I think NORE is his classic.
No close to NORE.
But there's some joints I like the sometimes joint.
But that was also on the Belly soundtrack. It came out months ago.
Right. And he had the Oh No remix with Angie Martinez was on that, and I didn't like that remix.
But see, that's the problem when you have someone that's a radio disc jockey that's also on your album. So it represents a musical conflict of interest. Like, are you trading? Like, if she, raps on your album, will you get more airplay? That's the first thing that I thought of.
Yeah, he had the record deal with Elektra. She had like a lot of people on her album. It still was whack. Number 9, I'm going with
wait. Try before you move on. Let me just ask you all this. I know we love Capone and Noriega in the group. Do we really believe that Noriega was a great solo artist? Yeah. The NORE album was dope, but I think that because Capone probably still helped out with that album. Right. Do we really think that Nori was a great solo artist though?
For what he did, dealing with his partner was locked up, and he basically had to promote the World Report by himself, and they hated Tommy Boy Records. You know, he talked about it. They hated Tom Silverman. I think he held it down. I think that World was a classic album, and that propelled him into NORE. And he did a phenomenal job. And like they were playing joints on college radio from that album before it came out. So like when I got the album, I already knew like a lot of those songs, and the production was great. Track masters on that, and Easy LP, and that was a great album. You know, we got the TONY that was on the World Report, and he talked about the remix that they was gonna do with Biggie. It never happened. But I think both of those albums he held it down for CNN, World Report and his solo album. And then when Capone Comes Home, 2000, he dropped the
I
Reunion.
love the Reunion album.
Great,
I love that album. I
great
come that
sophomore
album all
album,
the time.
definitely. And I was on that street team for Tommy Boy when the Reunion
Okay.
came out. You know what I'm saying? And that was a great album. You know, Ray Landski, shout out to you. Yo, you're welcome to join us if you want. He said Nori had to finish by exactly. Even the videos he had to do pretty much on his own. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at Closer, the video for Closer, Capone not in that video. You know what I'm saying? And when you look at the video for Driver's Seat, there's like a double single. There's no Capone in there. That was all him on his own, and he had to literally do his own. And he had the support. He had Mob supported him, and Nas. You know, they were on NORE. So I think those two albums are like when it comes to Noriega, those are like his best albums in the discography. So, and a lot of artists wouldn't have been able to do that. They wouldn't have been able to hold down an album when their partners locked up, and they didn't know when he was coming home.
But and also keep in mind that Nori had an ace in the hole,
Right.
And his ace in the hole was Pharrell Williams,
Right.
because on his next solo album, which came out on Def Jam, Nothing was a big hit. Grimy was a big hit.
Right.
So
Grimy was on the that was on the Violator 2.
Violator album.
Yeah. I never like Nori never struck me as somebody that was a great songwriter. Never struck me as somebody that is very. He's clever, but he's not somebody that I would listen to and try to rack my brain on how he came up with those pairing of words, or just listen to over and over again to get the meaning of a song. He just knew how to rap, rap about street stuff, rhyme about what he grew up around. But it wasn't anything that Cam wasn't doing much better. You know what I mean?
I mean, what Cam was dealing with label drama at Epic, and he said like the label executives there were like wearing moccasins. They wasn't from the hood, so that's why they didn't promote his first album. They didn't promote SDE. They got leaked to the streets. You know what I'm saying? And when he went with Rockefeller, it was a different look. They had the budget. They had Def Jam. They had Jay-Z and Dame backing them, and they took advantage of that.
I like the earlier Cam. I like the SDE, Cam, and what's the other album he had? The early album,
Confessions of Fire.
Confessions of Fire. I like that rapping Cam, the Cam that was actually really, really rapping. After that, his rapping skills kind of diminished, and he got into more quirky stuff. So I mean, it's still fire. The whole Dipset era is fire. It's a fire era. But when it comes to lyricalism, I like the early Cam better than the Dipset Cam. But the Dipset Cam, they did some stuff they did.
There was a point when both them and State Property was hotter than Jay. They were releasing all the mixtape stuff. They were releasing. They were hotter than Jay at one point.
You know what I call that Cam that was rapping with aggression and was truly at his MC peak when he was under Undias with Lance Rivera. When Lance Rivera was his executive producer.
That was Charlie and Cam was Biggie's artist, and then Biggie passed away.
Yeah, I always felt like when he was under Undias, he was rapping to rap just as good as his mentor, and to prove that he is worthy of being in the industry. By the time he went to Rockefeller, he had for 2 years did the mixtape circuit, and he was laying the groundwork for what would be known as the most popular works.
Yep.
Not better in terms of rapping, but in terms of what the audience think of him. Best. That's Purple Haze and
Come Home With Me.
Come Home With Me.
Yeah, that he was putting out fire. Like those two albums to me are classics. You know, and he set the groundwork for the other Dipset artists, Joel Santana. Jimmy was doing his own thing. You had J.R. Ryder, Uncasa, Purple City, like all of them, the whole
Purple
Dipset
City
tree.
Bird gang. That's it. That Purple City Bird.
Wow.
Yo, that was a real era,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
That was a real era. That was
Sure.
fun. That Bird gang era was crazy. But a lot of rappers do. A lot of rappers, for some reason, they create their best music when they're hungry. Like
Right.
if you look at some albums, like their first, second, third album, and they don't have a lot of money and they're grinding hard, and a lot of the rappers' album, their early content is some of their best content when they're hungry. Once they get comfortable and they start making money, they start selling big numbers, they start to broaden their appeal for more people, and that's where sometimes they lose their core. They lose their core. So they still make good music, but sometimes when they third, fourth album, some of them ain't hungry no more. They ain't hungry.
Ray said, I thought Purple City was wreck. I actually got that Purple City album. I thought it was dope. He had Aguilar and Shice Bub and Uncasa. Uncasa used to do like the freestyle battles on like the Smack DVDs and all that. You know,
the streets needed Purple City Bird. The streets needed Dipset.
Yeah.
The streets needed State Property. The streets needed Rough Rock. There's some labels, there's some groups that put out music that the streets just had to have.
Yeah.
It had the streets rocking. Purple City Bird gang, we weren't lyrical like that, but we had the streets.
And that song was on Winter Sleeping Park. It was on the countdown for like many weeks. That's the type of impact that they had on the culture already. Number 9, I got Craig Mack's second album, Operation Get Down.
I hate that album.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Oh my God! I hate
his first album. His first. You have it? I never bought it. Never bought it.
Hold on. Keep talking.
Okay. His first album was Operation Funk the World. That was on Bad Boy. That to me is his best album. You know the joints, Flavor in Your Ear, classic. The remix, classic. You had Get Down from that album. You get to the second album, and he gave us Jock in My Style. I like the song, but when you hear the rest of the album, it wasn't hitting. And he didn't do like the production on this one, and I just didn't like it. I just thought he had another joint called What I Need, but the remix, I think the remix, Mo B did a remix for that, but the whole album itself, never liked it. Yes, he had a second album. It wasn't on Bad Boy because he had already left Bad Boy, but it was, I forgot what label it was on, but this was 97, so he was already done with Bad Boy. But when you hear the album, it wasn't like the first one. But rest in peace to Craig Mack. He was a legend. Did his thing for that, that first album. What did you hear the second album?
Well, number one, I heard several songs from the album. Like, Craig Mack, I respected him, but I didn't pick up the second album, and the second album came out on Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers, right? Okay.
And I remember like the first single, like the video, he was like some elaborate plot on him. It was at an upscale event. And the whole premise of the video is that like his crew is gonna go after the dude that's jocking his style, that's biting him. And I think what really sunk Craig Mack's ship was that.
Oh my God! You actually bought that. You actually bought that. Sell that CD off. Please. Sell that album. That
Wow.
album is no good.
Oh, God.
Burn that album.
I hate this. My bad. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, no problem.
Rob, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I hate this album. I don't know why. I listened to this once, twice, three. I'm like, I couldn't believe he released this trash, you know. Oh my God. I got it.
And that was Warner Brothers. You already know they messed up with Prince. So what you think he was gonna do with Craig Mack?
I think what really sunk Craig Mack's ship was that he didn't put out an album either. He should have put out an album in either 95 or 96.
Mm-hmm.
97 was timing is everything in hip hop. And in 97, in the aftermath of Biggie's death, there were, I mean, people like I don't know if in 97 if people were even thinking about Craig Mack, because you had Biggie, you had Toto, you had 112, you had Faith.
Mm-hmm.
Those are three R&B acts that went multi-platinum.
That's crazy for you to say, because Craig Mack was their moneymaker early on.
Right.
That's what
he was the first artist to come out on Bad Boys.
Crazy that's how they thought. That's how they thought about him.
Well, I mean, he didn't want to be mainstream.
He was on a
he told him that from the beginning. He didn't want to be mainstream though, which is why he left.
I mean, but there's a big difference between trying to be mainstream and putting an album out on a major label. Like mainstream is really appealing to the aesthetic and taste of white people. None of Bad Boys artists really did that. But
Biggie got mainstream hits.
Craig Mack could have put out an album sooner than 97.
Biggie had the mainstream hits, and he didn't even want to do Juicy. Remember that when he didn't want to do Juicy, and Puff made him do it. He had to convince him to do that song.
I think Mace had that appeal too, with his face, his looks, his youngness, his characteristics. Right. I think Mace kind of fit that mold for everybody liked his music kind of thing.
Right.
But you know what? But I gotta make the distinction. Biggie had what I call black cool. Like he was a cool black dude. Like when you think of Miles Davis, I think of black cool. Like when I think of Marvin Gaye, I think of black cool. Mace, on the other hand, he is universal. He's the ladies' man. He's the he presents himself as the guy that you're going to introduce to your parents, knowing that he ain't really about that. So I felt like there was a little bit of facetiousness in Mace's image, whereas with Biggie, he was very authentic.
If you look at Operation Funk the World, that album is like underground. That's an underground album on Bad Boy. There's like no radio commercial hits on it. Flavor in the Ear blew up because it was catchy. People loved the beat, and then they remember the video when he's out in Queens, and then the remix with Biggie and LL and Busta and Rampage, it just caught fire. You know what I'm saying? But if you listen to that album, that whole album is underground. There's no other commercial joints on it, really. Compared to like Harlem World, compared to Ready to Die, Life After Death. So you know what I mean?
So like I haven't like y'all listen to the album. So is Craig Mack's rapping, is that more in line with say a Redman or I'm trying to think of another. I'm trying to think of another MC that has like Cypher roots.
He was, you know what was crazy? He would have been good with Def Squad. Remember there was like some connection with him and Def Squad, and I think he was supposed to start with Def Squad or whatever. He would have fit right in because they were like lyrical. He's lyrical. He's not about radio friendly joints. That wasn't him.
Yeah, well,
you know what I'm saying, but
he
don't have the lyricism like Redman though. He was just
absolutely not.
No, he don't.
No,
yeah.
I think like if he was originally down with the Hit Squad, so if Hit Squad had never broken up,
he would have fit right in.
Craig Mack would have fit in with Keith Murray and K Solo.
Right. You would have fit right in.
And also, all three of them are from Long
The
Island.
Hit Squad album is a dope album. That's a dope album.
The Death Squad album?
El Nino joined too. That's a dope album.
I like El Nino. A lot of people don't like it though.
Tough album.
Like if you put him in a cypher, he could rap his ass off. But he wasn't as lyrical as Redman though. I think Redman was like one of the best. You know, Keith Murray, old Keith Murray. You know.
Keith Murray was dope too.
Yeah.
Keith Murray was dope.
Ray said only thing he wouldn't stand out. He would have been. But like Hit Squad made it. They put their artists out there though, like to shine. Like whether it was a posse joint or a feature. So he would have been like maybe on the EPMD, posse joint or Keith Murray joint. He would have been able to shine. Like the way that they did with Das Effects. They put Das Effects on Business and Personal, and they killed it. Coming at You, one of my favorite tracks on that album. You know what I'm saying? They put Redman on the Business as Usual album. He shined. Got people ready for his first album. K Solo, same thing with him. You know what I mean? So I think that's what they would have had to do, like put him on a feature or something.
Yeah, but what Rock
when he went to Bad Boy, he was a free agent.
He was actually the label head. Like Craig Mack was the face of the label before
Biggie.
Biggie and before Mace came along later on too. So it's kind of crazy how they treated Craig Mack and pushed him to the back.
Look, if we talking simple styles, Nori's style was simple too. He wasn't lyrical.
Yeah.
You know what?
Nori wasn't super lyrical. No.
You know what Craig Mack sounded like as an MC, and this is. Like, y'all remember on the Wayans Brothers, like how when Marlon Wayans when he would rap, like what's the episode Hip Hop Pops and Marlon Wayans, like the way he would rap, he sounded like a more comedic Craig Mack, with the hand gesture.
Right. Yeah, once that second album came out, I was done with Craig Mack.
Like Nori to me was simple, but nobody sounded like him. So like at that time in the 90s, nobody sounded like Nori. He had his own style. Even now, like nobody sounded like him.
Yeah.
My number 8 is Queen Pen. Her second album, Conversations with Queen. This was 2001, and she had some heavy hitters on this album. She had VR Period. She had Teddy Riley. Daddy O did the beats. She had Miss Jones, Cameron, Mr. Cheeks, all features. Steven and Damian Marley. But the album was trash. It was nothing like her first one. She had a joint called Pussy Ain't For Free. I really didn't like the album. Like the whole album.
What happened to her, man? Why she didn't blow up?
I don't know.
She was alright.
She had a couple hits. She had the joint with Mr. Cheeks on Party in a Party. That was a big hit for her.
Wait, was that the song that sampled On Your Face by Earth, Wind and Fire?
Yeah. She had a video for that.
That was a
fun. I didn't like that song at all.
Is she locked up? I didn't hear about her being locked up.
Oh, what she got locked up for?
I don't know. He said did she come home yet?
Oh, I didn't even know she locked up, yo.
I don't know. But maybe that's why we didn't hear from her. She did.
Yeah,
all of the female rappers
nobody talks about her, man.
All of the female rappers do longer bids than male rappers.
Say it again. I didn't hear you.
All of the female rappers do longer bids than the male rappers.
Is that is that a true statistic?
Yeah, I mean, look, C Murder's still locked up, and he's been doing what, 20 years?
So is Soulja Slim still locked up? Soulja Slim died, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I saw her at, let me tell you, I saw Queen Pen at Greek Fest. She was hosting it with Treach from Naughty by Nature. That was like maybe 2001, 2002. But that might have been like right after that.
She had a run, Troy. She had a little run.
Yeah, I mean, her second album wasn't good. Her second album was not good. The first album they promoted it was okay, but her second album was not good. There was no big hits off of the second album. I didn't really care for it. We gonna get to them because they're on my list too. Foxy and Kim is on my list.
Hey, you putting me on because I wasn't paying attention to the first album, so so I'm curious. I want to hear like Queen Pen's second album. I'm gonna check it out on YouTube
because I wasn't up on
Max B. Max B is supposed to come home in November. Supposedly, he's coming home this year.
Yeah.
So what's your number 7? What you got?
Actually, I did 10 and 9, so I'm on my 8th pick.
Okay.
So my 8th pick comes from a duo from Oakland, California.
Who's that?
And I really liked their first album. Their first album was Operation Stackola.
Oh, the
Loonies. And the group is called The Loonies.
I remember that second album.
Man, that second album, number one, there's a common theme. Number one, too many guest appearances, and the songs that have other rappers on it, they stick out like a sore thumb.
Right.
And the album is called Lunatic Music.
Yes, I remember that.
And
they had a song with Rapio Sadiq on there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the song that they used to play in the commercial for the album back in the day.
Absolutely. And the name of the song is called Just Me and You.
Right.
And
right. That's after
produced
the
by DJ Quick
song that he did for Higher Learning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, man, like there's a song on there called Highest Niggas in the Industry with E40 and Be Legit. That's okay. Like I mean I love E40 and Be Legit.
Pac-Man, what up?
But I felt like further down the album, man, it just felt like noise pollution, man. Number one, you got this posse cut, terrible there's this terrible posse cut. Man, it's called Killers on the Payroll.
Right.
And it's a bunch of dudes you're not gonna be familiar with. But rest assured, man, like they like when you hear them rap, you don't leave, you don't finish the listening experience thinking, man, I want to hear more of them. And I did like the song they did with Redman, Hypnotize. Maybe it's because like Redman and the Loonies, they have a weed aesthetic, and thematically it makes a lot of sense and it makes for a good song. But Lunatic Music, terrible album, and that's the album that sunk their career.
Jordan. Pac-Man, what up?
They lost their record deal after this.
Pac-Man said, "Did y'all see the?" Oh yeah, we talked about the All-Star game yesterday on 6ix's YouTube channel. It was trash. I didn't like it.
Yo, I was watching the All-Star game, talking to my brother. Like, first of all, doing away with the East and West format was terrible, but also like the 3 mini tournaments.
Exactly.
Man, like, I'll save my thoughts for the end.
The best part of that show was seeing En Vogue and seeing E40 and Too Short represent for the Bay. That was the best part of the show. The game was trash. The everything else that weekend was trash. The only thing that I liked was the 3-point shootout, and I always really didn't care for that, but now I like it better than the dunk contest because that's how bad it was.
And the night before, didn't Raphael Sadiq perform the night before?
Yes, and him too. Yes. He was good too. He was good too.
Yep.
You know how trash the slam dunk contest is? Is his name Mac Slung?
Mac McClung?
Yeah, Mac McClung.
Yeah.
Like, he competed in the slam dunk contest a year ago, won it. He won this slam dunk contest jumping over a car and damn near broke his left leg.
It was already done. Blake Griffin did that in 2011.
This is his third year he won. He won 3 in a row.
Yeah. how do you have a Caucasian player during Black History Month win the dunk contest 3 straight years? That's a travesty. That's a
Yeah,
travesty.
and jump and dunking over a car. It's already been done before.
It's been
Like
done,
it's not
and Blake Griffin
unique
did it better.
anymore. And that was his second dunk attempt, and
They,
the judges gave him all 5s, and I'm like,
they,
why?
they got to do something. They got to bring it back to East-West. Let the players wear their team jerseys and give it for the fans. Let the fans vote who should be in the dunk contest. No more picking these people that he's not even playing with Orlando. He's not even on the roster.
I think somebody mentioned during the show, I think, that they shouldn't have ex players or ex dunkers as the judges. They say
Right.
they're too jaded. They
Well,
said they need to have like random people be the judges.
I don't even got a problem with the judges. It's like just the whole festivities just to mean something. They don't care about the fans no more. It's like they just want to sit on the sideline with their drip and who look the flyers. They don't care about the game. So
No,
it's like if they don't care, why are you having it?
That's facts.
You know
That's facts.
what I'm saying? It's like the Pro Bowl. Like I told you, like I watched a clip of the Pro Bowl and Russell Wilson did not even run. He just was he's standing right there and he threw it into the end zone. They don't care about
the Pro Bowl. Right? I watched the Pro Bowl. I've seen that.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like if they don't care, let's get rid of it. To me, I feel like they need to start finding the plays that if you don't want to participate for the fans, then you getting fined.
I was excited to see Kate Cunningham in the All-Star game, and then
he deserved it.
But you know what? He didn't get much playing time, so I felt like, man.
I mean, that could be on the coach. The coach could have told him like, don't play my point guard too many minutes. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that's possible.
Like Brunson was in there, and I didn't want Brunson playing the whole game. Like we need our point guard. We need our point guard for the rest of the way. So,
and considering where the Knicks are, the number 3 in the East,
right?
That's valid.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Same thing with like my team is number 6.
Mm-hmm.
Man, this like I never thought we would even be in the mix for the playoffs. I thought we would be competing for the 8th seed.
Mm-hmm.
So, Kay Cunningham, he has exceeded my expectations, and I would love to see him be in the conversation for most valuable player.
Right. Yeah.
Like I know it's a long shot, but at least be in the conversation.
At least most improved. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a little killer tapes. Number 7, I got Black Sheep's second album, Nonfiction. Was not a fan of this album, but I do. There's one thing I do like about it. I like the fact that Mr. Long was able to rap a lot more on the album compared to the first album when he was only like on maybe 2 or 3 tracks. But he did get to rock the mic more on the second album. But as far as production, the songs to me were like just a bunch of album filler. There was really nothing on it that moved me compared to the first album. I mean, you had Choice Is Yours, you had Flavor of the Month, you had But in the Meantime, Similac Child. They had no type of songs like that on the second album, and it wasn't even promoted. They put out like maybe one song. I remember Without a Doubt, the video for that, but nothing else. And I people love that album, and I get it, but for me, I didn't think it was a great sophomore album for me. What do y'all think?
So is the issue more with the record label?
The rapping. No.
Not the rapping. No. It's the songs itself. It was like it's like listening to an album like album filler. It was nothing that you could listen to and be like, yo, this is gonna be a single, or it was like a tight album cut. It wasn't like the first, like A Wolf in Sheep's Clothing to me, highly underrated. I think it's a slept on classic. There were many songs on that album that were you gravitated to, at least for me. When you hear the second album, we didn't get that. And I know at the time, Drez and Mr. Long, they were beefing or whatever. That probably had something to do with it too. But like for me, like listening to the album, I'm like, this ain't it. It's missing something that wasn't on A Wolf in Sheep's Clothing.
Sometimes it's hard to make. Sometimes it's hard to make that to follow up that good first album. it's tough, man.
It,
It's
it
tough.
sounds right. It sounded rushed, and they had issues with their label too. So I think Dress, there was an interview that Dress said like the label was offered him like a solo deal, and Mr. Long was like he didn't care, like they had already split up and up. So, but I do like the fact that he got a chance to rhyme more because we heard him on a couple songs on the first album, but on the second one he was rhyming on like almost every song on that album. I'm like, well, how come they didn't let him rhyme on the first album like that? You know
Mm.
what I mean? But I didn't care for it. Some people like it. I didn't think it was a good album. What's your next pick?
Let me go. Okay, my seventh pick it's a crew from Newark, New Jersey, and I know Landski, he might feel a way about it.
Don't tell me Naughty by Nature.
No. Definitely
Don't say
not.
PMD. Where they from? Long
No,
Island?
he said from Jersey.
Jersey?
No, I said they from Newark.
Okay.
Not
Don't,
East Orange.
do not tell me the artifacts. Do not tell me the artifacts. Not the artifacts? Who's it?
Not the artifacts. I'll give you a hint. I'll give you a hint. One of the members is the former husband of Rod Digger.
Oh, the Outsiders. I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
I didn't hear the second album from the Outsiders though. What was on there?
Yeah, this album. Yeah, the name of the album is called The Bricks.
The Brick.
And this
I think I got that.
was the.
I think,
yeah, and this
I got that album.
was. Oh, you do?
Yeah, I think I got it.
Yeah, like I was, like the songs on this the songs on this album sound very. They had plenty of time to work on it, but I felt like the magic that they had on the EP was like lightning in a bottle. Like, but the full length album, it kind of it was like the bottom dropped out because they had I'm Leaving with Khalees, terrible song. I did like the song they did with Method Man and Redman, Who You Be, but if you look, but the thing about the EP was that it had seminal songs on it. Y'all remember the Rara? That's Pace One solo song.
I gotta check. I got one of their albums. I think that's the album that I have. I gotta listen to that album now. You saying it's whack?
Rock, man, you're gonna have people come look for you, man. You're going at some heavy hitters, bro. You on there? You going at Busta Rhymes? Yo, that album was.
Oh, he's not bugging. I said he's not bugging.
I remember that album being that bad, man.
I gotta check that album out. I believe I have that one.
Damn.
Yeah, and I bought that album on the strength of the EP.
Right.
Because on the EP had the Rah Rah, which was Pace One solo song. It had Rush the Click. That's the joint that they did with Eminem. And by the way, man, I want to there's this narrative around Eminem that Eminem has never given a whack verse or Eminem has never been outlined.
Many.
Oh, Pace One had a better verse than him. Young Z had a better verse than him. As Is had a better verse than him. So we can shut down that notion that Eminem has never.
What era of Eminem are we talking about? Is it Slim Shady era, or is it the era of Revival and Kamikaze?
I'm talking about like his ascent at the beginning of his career.
Okay.
For like he did several songs with the Outsiders. Take the Whole World with Me, Hard Act to Follow, Makusa. If you listen to those songs, Eminem didn't have the best verse on those songs.
Right.
So I say that to say that I felt like the Outsiders as a collective, they had a lot of promise. And not every member of the Outsiders, to me, I felt was great. Pace, great. As is, dope. God bless Sling Tone, dope. Young Z, Young Z is dope, but he has hits and misses. But the feel of the album, it just feels very disjointed, because this is your full-length album, and I was expecting to hear more from My Digga. Like I thought this is going to be the breakout album, and it kind of fizzled out. So I'm glad that I'm not going to get hit with arrows and spears from from people out in New Jersey, man. Like I gave you a fair warning.
I didn't know who you were talking about. The Lords of the Underground? I didn't know who you were talking about.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I mean, Jersey got dozens of crews.
Yeah.
So I can see why you thought that.
All right, I'm going number 6. I'm going with Wyclef. I actually got this album, Wyclef the Eclectic. Now this album, there's a couple of songs that was decent, like 911 with Mary J. That was like the biggest off here. But the song he did with The Rock, and I love The Rock, legend. I don't want to hear The Rock rapping on the song of Wyclef. That was a terrible mistake.
Wrestler?
Yes, he's on. That's the wrestler. He was on It Doesn't Matter.
But WWE,
yes.
The Rock.
He's on the song. There's a song called It Doesn't Matter.
WrestleMania Rock.
Yes, The Rock, the Jabroni,
The Rock
SmackDown,
versus Stone Cold, yes. Steve Austin Rock.
Yes, The Rock, the tribal chief member, yes, from Bloodline. The Rock is on the first single called It Doesn't Matter. So that's already a mistake when you name a song after a Rock saying, and then you put The Rock on it. You know what I'm saying? Like he was trying to capitalize off of The Rock's popularity.
That's crazy, yo.
I get it.
His first album, yo.
I get it.
The Carnival is a classic. How do you go with The Carnival? That album is trash. Exactly. I agree.
Coming off of The Carnival, it was a classic. You had Guantanamera. You had what's the other song here? We're Trying to Stay Alive. Anything Can Happen. Going to November, and then you do this shit, and you give us the first single with The Rock. Then he has the song where he's like dissing Lauren and Praz with where Fuji's at. Yeah, Kenny Rogers on a
whoa. Say that. What's the name of the song again?
Where
Fuji's at?
Yeah, and he's calling out Lauren and Praz. Like, we need to do another album. They were already done with him at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, real talk. And then you got Whitney Houston. Rest in peace to Whitney Houston, one of the best singers ever. You had Whitney Houston on a dub plate track, and you had Kenny Rogers singing over the Simon Says beat. Like, what are you doing?
He was swinging,
you know what I'm saying?
He was swinging for the fences.
Wow.
He was doing too much with this album. I'm like, bro, like give us something that's your lane. Like, what you doing with this album was not in his lane. He was trying to do too much, and it was bad, and it didn't sell. And yeah, that was not a great album. Like, now he did make up for it though on The Preacher's Son. I think that was like his third or fourth album. That was a good album, but nothing will ever top The Carnival. Like, Carnival, like, it's his best album.
Carnival, another album that gets mega replay value for me. Mega replay for the Carnival is replay all the time.
And the thing with The Carnival, he didn't have a whole bunch of features. He had the Fugees, Refugees Camp on there, and that was it. He didn't have on this one. He had Whitney Houston. He had Kenny Rogers, Mary J. Blige. He had Free from 106 and Park.
Trying to get the sales, man.
He was doing too much. He was doing too much.
Yo, he really has a song called Kenny Rogers and Pharaoh Monch dub plate.
He's singing over the Simon Says beat. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what, Kenny Rogers over Simon Says? Come on.
That was bad.
Yo, this is a long album, man.
No,
that was.
It was bad. It was
19 songs.
It was bad. It was bad. It was bad. You know what I mean? Like, the production was bad. The songs were bad. The features were bad. I'm like, what are you? It's amazing that he had the Mary J. Blige song as a single. Because I want to say they got nominated for a Grammy for that song, but the whole album was trash.
Man, I think like after the wild success of the first album,
He was doing too much.
I guarantee you, I think the executives at his label said, cut him a blank check. Let him do whatever he wants to do.
Yeah,
this is what happens when you have so much creative freedom that you become self-indulgent.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Because they went like 8 million with the score, and they say, hey, do what you want. Go produce for Shakira. Go produce for Cannabis. You fucked up Cannabis album. You fucked up John Forte's album.
Hold up. I've heard Cannabis say that too. That the first album was bad. I like the first Cannabis album, and I love 2000 BC.
That was good.
I know Cannabis said the album got messed up, but that first album, there's something about it. I love Cannabis first album. There's
people that like it. I get it, but for me, when hearing it, I'm like, yo, you didn't give Cannabis the best tracks on that album.
He didn't. No, he didn't.
You know what I'm saying?
He didn't.
Like even with John Forte is a dope rapper. He didn't give the best tracks to John Forte either, and he got the album too. Of course he do. I never bought it. I
got both of them.
I went out and I bought DMX album, which was a better album.
I mean, DMX
two Cannabis albums.
The second one, I like 2000 BC. 2000 BC was great. That was a good album.
This came out in September. Like DMX album came out in May of '98. So I was anticipating getting this album. I went to the record store. I popped it in my cassette player, and I like this album is so maligned for the production, and he could have had this person. All that is true, but the only song that I can't believe actually left the recording studio and it was mixed and mastered is the last song called Rip Rock.
No, Rip Rock is hard because you gotta understand. Rock music was always big in the 90s. Like rock was one of the biggest genres. And for Cannabis to take that with the heavy horns, I love Rip Rock, son. When you bump Rip Rock at a heavy level, and you listen to what he's saying with the drum, nah. I can't go with you on that one, Rob. I love that song, man. I love Rip Rock. I don't know, man. I'm biased. I love that first album. I'm biased. But
here's the problem, though. Rip, Cannabis rhyming over heavy metal guitars. He ain't doing it as well as Zach LaRoche from Rage Against the Machine.
Right.
That's how
wait. A lot of rappers were doing that. Jay-Z tried to do that. And a lot of rappers were trying to get that lane where they're doing a rock and a rap. A lot. Run DMC started that. So
Naughty did it on Naughty has a song called Radio on the 1999 album, and they did it too on that track.
A lot of rappers try that formula, man.
Yeah, but the thing, like, if you look at like Rage Against the Machine, like Zach LaRoche, he's a real MC. So when you're rapping over heavy drum beats and guitars, you have to project very loudly and very aggressively.
Yeah.
Like Cannabis did not have the voice to pull that off. Tretch, yes, it's been done before, but man, you like with Cannabis, man, I think if you're going to malign the production, that's the song that I would raise my eyebrow at Wyclef. Like greenlighting that decision, I know it's ambitious, but I would have, I would have asked Cannabis and Wyclef, let's think twice about pulling the trigger on this.
Yeah, but he already thought he was a super producer. I mean, yeah, you did good with the score and the carnival, right? But when you hear, I mean, for me, Cannabis first album, when you hear John Forte first album, City High first album, it wasn't great, and I would never put him in the realm of like Eric Sermon or DJ Premier. He wasn't that.
No.
And
Wyclef is not on their level. Wyclef is,
and also Wyclef, he produced Caribbean Connection off of Capital Punishment.
That was good. But
so in
he didn't do the whole album.
Wyclef was in high demand
for Big Pun. He didn't do the whole album. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah. I mean, that could be like like the metaverse, like in an alternate universe. What would happen if Wyclef produced Big Pun's entire album?
That would have been bad. All right, what you got?
Okay, let me go to my list. At number 6, okay. My number 6 album is a lyrical supergroup.
Another group.
And yes, another group, and the former member of this group is currently is one of the most popular podcasters in the world.
Slaughterhouse?
Yes.
Okay.
Man, Welcome to Our House is a terrible sophomore album.
I remember that.
Because the first album,
I got that song.
Oh my God.
I
got that.
I got that album too, right here.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Yo, actually,
Yes, sir.
I never bought none of the albums.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Man, when they signed to Shady Records, I had a feeling that the group, they were going to be excited to be on a major label again. So because they're on a major label, they're going to have a bigger budget to record. But not only that, Eminem is the executive producer.
Right.
And the formula for Eminem's albums was not going to work for 4 MCs that were in their 30s.
Right.
4 MCs that had moderate success on their own. Yeah. And the first sign that this was going to be a terrible album was the single "My Life" with CeeLo Green.
I don't remember
if you go on YouTube,
I remember that song.
Type in "Slaughterhouse" featuring CeeLo Green. They're like they're living a high life. They're flying to Beverly Hills and living it up, and you could tell they were celebrating the anticipated success that they thought they was going to have too early. And the worst song on this album is "Throw It Away," produced by Swiss Beats.
Oh God.
They should have did what the song is titled. This song had no place on the album at all.
Oh God.
And the most shocking thing was that somehow, some way, it was a miracle. Interscope granted them a second album for release. So Interscope gave them another recording budget to do another album on Shady Interscope called Glass House. It remains unreleased.
That was the one that Just Blaze produced?
Yes.
I remember that.
He executive produced it. He produced the majority of the beats.
When Revival came out and Eminem did that interview with Sway, and he talked about that, I think that's when the beef with Joe Budden happened, because Joe said he didn't like the album.
Yeah, Joe said that He felt that Eminem was pandering with the with Untouchable, a song from Revival. And Untouchable is Eminem rapping from the perspective of a black cop and then rapping from the perspective of a black person being harassed by the police. So when Joe said that he felt Em was pandering, all communication between Eminem and the group kind of collapsed and it went haywire.
But if you're looking at this from a Interscope perspective, you can see why they gave them money. You're under Eminem at that time, one of the biggest artists in the world. You got 4 artists that's from literally 4 different coasts. You got an East Coast guy, you got a West Coast guy, so you got artists from different coasts together underneath Eminem. Like, how can you? And they're all lyrical. At that time, Joe Budden had songs. Crooked Eye, Royce was nice. You know, what's his name from
Joel
was still kind of maybe the most not known, but from a record label perspective, Eminem putting the group together with 4 lyrical artists, and they all from different zones.
Yeah, but the way that they were marketing those albums, like I remember seeing one of their videos on like MTV. They didn't have the MTV audience, so they was like,
but at that time, if you put your video on MTV, remember the 90s, 2000s, MTV was huge. Everybody wanted
not at that time not when you have like Teen Mom being played and they got to compete with those reality shows.
Well, they had their boss Eminem, and when you had Eminem, you know, as the head of that group, it was supposed to pop off. Eminem did not do enough for them to move them to another level. Just like Beanie Siegel didn't do enough for State Property to go to another level.
But Beans was too street. He had his feet in the street, and Jay was trying to groom him as a businessman.
Beans had the opportunity to take State Property because Jay-Z gave him the layup. Jay-Z took them to Hot 97, put you on the radio for all of New York to hear. All Beanie had to do, throw himself on there and market State Property. They would have been gone. They would have been gone out there. No discipline. Eminem did not do enough for Slaughterhouse, and I love Slaughterhouse. I love Slaughterhouse as a group. I think Joel Ortiz is doing really good. They even had that last album they put out 2 years ago, the joint album. That album was
If you look at his roster, like other than 50 Cent, like who really like was successful on Shady? He had Tyler, what's her name? The singer, I forgot her name. Skylar Grey. Skylar Grey put out like 2 albums. She didn't sell.
Yo,
you know what I mean?
The only other rapper that even went gold was Obi Trice.
Obi Trice, okay. Yeah. Cheers was a good album. I like that one.
Read that comment there, Try. That Jay comment.
Jay put SP together, not Beans.
So whoever said that, you got to understand, Jay-Z Biggs and Dame was the head of Rockefeller Records. When Jay brought State Property and Beanie Siegel to Hot 97, all of those guys were Philly guys. Right. All of those were from Philadelphia. So the New York guy, Jay-Z, you bringing in Beanie Siegel, who's bringing in State Property, it's only right to have the Philly guy run State Property. Jay-Z would not run State Property properly. He's not from Philly. It was Beanie's responsibility being from Philly and having those young dudes State Property under him. It was his responsibility to push State Property, not Jay-Z. Jay-Z already getting the layup. Jay-Z was on some of their songs. Jay-Z was on Freeway's album multiple times. I don't know if he was on. Jay-Z was on the State Property 1 and Volume 2. All right, so it's not Jay-Z that was supposed to do state property. BDC goes to
He was in the movie. He wasn't on the soundtrack. He was in the movie.
Huh?
Get a cameo in State Property 1. I can't remember if he was in part 2. He was in the cameo.
Yeah. That was
Young
all
Cosetti.
Beans had the layup, and Beans fumbled it.
I didn't even know that. I didn't know Jay-Z put together State Property.
Well,
so you can tell us.
Well, if you remember,
I didn't even know about that.
Like Jay-Z wanted to sign major figures,
Right?
And
Salute.
Major figures wanted too much money, so Jay went with Beans.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Right?
Gilly just said that on Club Shay Shay the other day.
Wow.
He said Jay tried to lowball him.
What's good, Ray?
Hey, Ray. I gave fair warning about the Outsiders pick.
Can you hear us? I don't know. Can you hear us?
Let me change my tea real quick. Hold on.
All right. Wow. Yeah, I didn't know that. I remember seeing there was a Smack or Come Up DVD where they had PD Crack on it, and he was like talking about like how they all linked up. I know they're like from different parts of Philly. So
yeah,
I only knew about that. I didn't know that Jay-Z had anything to do with like them like bringing the whole group together.
I mean, if you kind of look at it from like an organized crime hierarchy, where you have like the boss, and then underneath the boss you have different lieutenants. Like Beans was the lieutenant to his crew,
right?
But yeah, the boss kind of calling the shots
right.
for for the crew. So usually the lieutenant will run the crew, and the lieutenant reports what's going on with his crew to the boss.
But he didn't do that. He didn't do that with Dipset. Dipset had their own movement going on. You know what I'm saying? They had their own thing going on.
And I mean, Dipset, they were so self-contained, and they were so efficient that being under Rockefeller, it just felt like a banner. Like there was nothing that they couldn't do on their own that they would need Jay-Z to do for them.
It's only letting me have 3 people on it. I don't know why. I'm trying to bring Ray on, but it's only letting me have 3 people on for this one. Like the other page you was on, I accepted you, but for some reason I can't accept him on this one. I don't understand. That's weird. Jay Lunas said Irv Gotti's funeral. Yeah, I saw Vita posted like the booklet from the funeral. Try the other page, yo, because it's not letting me bring you on here. I don't know why.
While we're waiting for Ray, I was looking at. I just took out a free trial on Hulu, and I was looking at the documentary that Nas did on Supreme Team.
Yeah, and
they did a great job breaking down how neighborhoods worked and how the Supreme Team formed, and just the level of sophistication of the hierarchy of the chain of command. Man, if they would have had the opportunity to do that with a Fortune 500 company.
No, it's not letting me. It's not letting me have him on here. I don't know what the hell's going on with Instagram. They bugging. He was just on here too. It's like when he run off, it's like I got the notice that I can't even accept him on here. I might have to restart the live and see. I don't know. It's usually 4 people, and it won't let me accept them on here.
Hey, You know,
only.
maybe you know who you know got their hands on this app.
Oh God, I hope not.
Maybe, yo, I don't know, like
Don't say
maybe
that.
video,
Don't say that.
yo, maybe, but but you know where I'm going with, you know where I'm going with it.
Instagram be tripping sometimes, bro. Like I don't know. He was on here, and then when he went off, I got to notice that only 3 could be on here. I'm like, what the? That's weird. That's crazy. I wanted to hear what he had to say about stay poppy. You want me to restart the live? Y'all can come back.
I'll jump back in. I'm here.
Yeah,
Yeah, cause we gotta do like the top 5.
yeah,
All right, I'm here.
All right.
this could be like a part 2.
I
Okay.
got a
All
couple.
right. You got a couple?
About later, I got a couple.
All right. So I'm gonna restart the live, and then I'm gonna try to get Ray on here.
All right.
All right. Bet. Let's end this one. Oh, hold on. Hold on. All right. Let me restart this joint.